Amidst the amber hues of an autumn evening, a gentle breeze whispered through the rustling leaves, setting the stage for a tale of long-lost love and an unexpected reconnection. In a quaint little park adorned with trees swaying gracefully, two souls found themselves by chance, their paths about to intertwine once more. Amelia, her auburn hair catching the last rays of the setting sun, sat on a weathered bench, absently admiring the kaleidoscope of colors that painted the sky. She was lost in a world of memories, her heart yearning for a love she had once cherished, but believed to be lost forever. As if drawn by an invisible thread, a figure approached from the shadows, captivating her senses with an inexplicable familiarity. The stranger had a rugged charm about him, his eyes deep pools of mystery that held untold stories of the years gone by. He stopped before her, hesitating for a moment before he spoke. "Amelia?" Her heart skipped a beat at the sound of her name on his lips, but she couldn't believe her ears. The voice that resonated through her soul belonged to the very man she had thought she would never see again. "Alex?" she whispered, tears glistening in her eyes, as if they were the reflection of all the autumns she had spent yearning for him. He smiled, a bittersweet smile that spoke of 1,000 apologies and a longing that mirrored her own. "I never thought I'd find you here after all these years," he said, his voice tinged with regret. Amelia's emotions were a swirling canvas, painted with hues of surprise, delight, and a hint of apprehension. Memories of their time together began to dance before her like leaves caught in a playful gust of wind. They had been childhood sweethearts, lost in a love so pure that it had been destined to become a cherished memory. As they sat side by side, they reminisced about the golden days they had once shared, the autumn strolls, the laughter, and the promises made beneath the canopy of vibrant foliage. They shared tales of their separate journeys, the paths that led them far away from each other. With each exchanged word, the spark of love that had once bound them together reignited, kindling a flame that had never truly extinguished. Their hearts, now laid bare, were vulnerable yet willing to embrace the possibilities that lay ahead. As the stars adorned the darkening sky like scattered jewels, Amelia and Alex found themselves unable to part once more. They decided to savor the rekindled connect. In the days that followed their blissful reconnection, Amelia and Alex found themselves caught in a whirlwind of emotions as they faced the impending challenge of Alex's major career opportunity in Panama. They spent their time exploring their favorite spots in St. Augustine, savoring every moment as they tried to prolong the inevitable. One afternoon, as they sat by the serene waters of the Matanzas River, Amelia broke the heavy silence that hung between them. "Alex, I don't know what to do. I want to be with you, but this move to Panama is such a huge step." Alex gently clasped her hand in his eyes filled with understanding. "I know it's a lot to ask, Amelia, but I can't imagine my life without you. We've been given a second chance, and I don't want to let it slip away again." Tears welled up in Amelia's eyes as she nodded. "I love you so much, Alex, and I want to be with you. But it's not just about us. It's about leaving everything behind. My job, my friends, and my family. I promise you, Amelia, we'll make it work. We'll build a life together in Panama, and when the time is right, we'll come back to St. Augustine. It'll be an adventure, and we'll face it together," Alex reassured her. Still, Amelia couldn't shake her worries. Later that day, she sought solace in a heart-to-heart conversation with her mother, Elizabeth. They sat in the cozy living room, the scent of freshly baked cookies lingering in the air. "Mom, I'm torn," Amelia confessed. "I love Alex, and I can't imagine my life without him, but moving to Panama means leaving everything I've known behind." Elizabeth placed a comforting hand on her daughter's shoulder. "Sweetheart, life is full of opportunities, and sometimes taking a leap is necessary to find true happiness. Your father and I have always wanted the best for you, and we believe in your dreams." Amelia's eyes softened with gratitude. But I don't want to lose you and Dad. Her mother smiled warmly. You'll never lose us, dear. We'll always be here for you, no matter where life takes you. Besides, you have a strong love with Alex, and that love can withstand any distance or challenge. With newfound clarity, Amelia returned to Alex, her heart determined to take the leap. She found him waiting in their favorite cafe, La Mirabelle, a plate of strawberry mini cupcakes before him. He looked up as she approached, a mixture of nervousness and excitement in his eyes. Amelia, there's something I want to ask you. She felt her heart race as she sat down. Alex pushed the plate of cupcakes towards her, and she picked up one with a message written in sweet icing. Will you marry me, Amelia Tyne? Tears glistened in her eyes as she looked at him, realizing the depth of his love and commitment. Yes, Alex, I'll marry you, she said, her voice filled with overwhelming joy. The entire cafe erupted in applause as they sealed their promise with a kiss. Amelia knew that this decision meant she had to leave St. Augustine, but she also knew that her love for Alex was worth the risk. As the days passed, they began planning their move to Panama, excited about the adventures that lay ahead. Amelia found solace in knowing that her parents supported their decision, and she was filled with hope for their future together. On the day of their departure, St. Augustine bid them farewell with a vibrant sunset, painting the sky with hues of red and gold. Hand in hand, Amelia and Alex boarded their flight, ready to embrace the unknown. The couple made a pact to return to their beloved St. Augustine, to seal their commitment in the presence of family and friends the next year in the fall. Autumn was significant as the season reminded them of their rekindled love. As the date for their wedding in St. Augustine approached, Amelia and Alex found themselves caught up in the whirlwind of preparations, relying heavily on their town's only wedding planner, Miss Mary Sullivan Lane. However, the joyous anticipation was dampened when they received unexpected news that Miss Mary was facing tax evasion charges and had to pull out of their wedding planning. Amelia was overwhelmed with worry, but Alex held her close, assuring her that everything would work out. Little did they know that a miracle was about to unfold. Amelia's cousin Esme stepped up to the plate, determined to help the couple pull off their last-minute wedding plan. With the entire neighborhood rallying around them, led by Esme's expertise, they transformed St. Augustine into a breathtaking autumn wonderland. Amelia's family barn on her family's 30 RC farm, adorned with rustic decorations and splashes of vibrant fall colors, became the perfect venue for their intimate celebration. On the day of the wedding, the small town came alive with an air of excitement. The crisp autumn breeze carried the sweet scent of flowers as guests filled the venue, their faces beaming with joy for Amelia and Alex. As the moment arrived, Alex stood at the altar, nerves and anticipation mixing in his heart. His eyes welled up with tears when he caught his first glimpse of Amelia, who looked radiant as she was walked down the aisle by her father. Her exquisite dress, a stunning creation made by her grandmother and mother, showcased intricate lace patterns that flowed gracefully into a full-length train. It symbolized the generations of love and support surrounding her on this special day. Her bouquet of autumn flowers, a tapestry of rich reds, oranges, and yellows, was a masterpiece of nature's beauty. It mirrored the colors of the falling leaves outside, and as she walked closer to Alex, it was as if the season itself was blessing their union. On that crisp autumn afternoon, beneath the canopy of trees on the farm that had witnessed their love's first bloom as teenagers, they stood facing each other, hands entwined like long-lost vines, ready to begin a new chapter in their shared story. Their emotions were palpable as they exchanged vows, speaking words of love and devotion that echoed through the hearts of all present. Finally, the moment they had both been waiting for arrived. As they were pronounced husband and wife, the well-wishers erupted in joyous cheers and applause. Amelia and Alex shared a spectacular kiss, sealing their love in front of their loved ones, and the autumn sun cast a golden glow upon their radiant smiles. The festivities continued at the reception, where laughter, dancing, and heartfelt toasts filled the air. Esme, hailed as a heroine by Amelia and Alex, reveled in the joy she had brought to the couple in their town. The guests marveled at her natural talent for wedding planning, urging her to consider starting her own business to fill the void left by Miss Mary. Esme did indeed heed the town's advice, and her wedding planning business flourished, bringing joy and happiness to countless couples. As the night grew dark, under a canopy of twinkling lights and stars, the newlyweds danced together, feeling the profound connection between them, knowing that they were destined for a lifetime of love and happiness. In the years that followed, Amelia and Alex spent 4 more years in Panama, but then returned to live out there happily ever after in St. Augustine. They built a life together, filled with love, laughter, and the beauty of autumn, always reminding them of the magic of their love story. When the autumn leaves fall by. Black Orchid. Jeremy, are you sure this is the place? Alicia asked, looking at the old creaky house in front of them. Jeremy scratched his head, trying to muster some confidence. Well, the realtor said it's a diamond in the rough. Plus, think of all the memories we'll make fixing it up together. Alicia chuckled, rolling her eyes playfully. You better hope those memories aren't filled with frustration and regret. And so began the hilarious journey of Jeremy and Alicia, 2 newlyweds moving into their fixer-upper in the quaint town of Maplewood. They had gotten married in the summer and decided Maplewood was the perfect place to start their family. As they entered the house, they were greeted by a cloud of dust, and Jeremy sneezed loudly. "Bless you," Alicia said, handing him a tissue. "Thanks," Jeremy replied, sniffling. "Well, let's get started. The sooner we fix this place, the sooner we can enjoy our cozy home." Little did they know, their idea of fixing up the house turned out to be quite the adventure. Their DIY attempts resulted in crooked shelves, mismatched paint colors, and a few nails hammered into the wrong places. "I'm pretty sure this wall was straight before," Jeremy said, eyeing their handiwork. "Well, now it's artistically slanted," Alicia joked. "A true masterpiece." Their DIY disasters caught the attention of their quirky neighbors, Mr. and Mrs. Henderson. They were an elderly couple with decades of experience and wisdom to share. "Hey, young folks, need some help with that?" Mr. Henderson called out from across the fence. Jeremy and Alicia exchanged glances, hesitant but grateful for the offer. "Yes, please," Jeremy said, relieved. "We could use all the help we can get." Mr. and Mrs. Henderson became their fixer-upper mentors, guiding them through the ups and downs of home improvement. They shared stories of their own DIY mishaps, which had Jeremy and Alicia in stitches. As autumn rolled in, Maplewood prepared for its annual autumn festival. The town buzzed with excitement, and Jeremy and Alicia couldn't wait to be a part of it. Alicia was particularly thrilled about the pie baking contest. "Jeremy, you have to try my grandma's secret apple pie recipe. We'll win for sure." Jeremy grinned. "As long as I get to be your official taste tester, I'm in." They practiced baking pies together, but their kitchen quickly turned into a floury battleground. Flour flew everywhere, and they ended up wearing more flour than the pie dough. "I think the kitchen is our new DIY project," Jeremy laughed, brushing flour off Alicia's nose. As the festival drew nearer, so did the Christmas holidays. Jeremy and Alicia's families were coming over, and they were determined to finish their fixer-upper before then. "We can do this," Alicia said, trying to convince herself as much as Jeremy. They worked tirelessly, but each time they completed one task, two more seemed to pop up. At times, they were so overwhelmed that they couldn't help but laugh at the absurdity of it all. Who knew fixing up a house would be like this? Jeremy chuckled, holding Alicia's hand. With the festival approaching and Christmas just around the corner, Jeremy and Alicia were exhausted. The hustle and bustle of their lives had begun to take a toll on their relationship. "I miss just sitting and talking with you," Alicia admitted one evening as they sat amidst the unfinished living room. Jeremy nodded, realizing that in the chaos of their new life, they had lost touch with the simple joys that brought them together. With the help of their friends and neighbors, they managed to finish most of the house just in time for the festival. Maplewood was now their home, and they felt a part of the close-knit community. At the autumn festival, they entered the pie baking contest, and Alicia's grandma's apple pie won the first prize. Jeremy couldn't stop bragging about his talented wife, making Alicia blush with pride. As they walked hand in hand through the festival, they felt the love and warmth of the town embracing them. "Remember our first encounter with this old house?" Jeremy asked, pointing to their fixer-upper, now transformed into a cozy home. Alicia laughed. "How could I forget? It was the start of our crazy, beautiful journey together." They shared a tender moment amidst the vibrant autumn leaves, realizing that no matter how busy life got, making time for each other was the key to keeping their love strong. As winter approached, Jeremy and Alicia cozied up by the fireplace, grateful for the love, laughter, and memories they had created in Maplewood. They looked back on their DIY disasters, quirky neighbors, and the autumn festival, feeling thankful for the joys and challenges that had brought them closer as a couple. And as the autumn leaves fell outside, they knew that no matter what came their way, they had found their home in each other's hearts.
A is for Autumn, by Black Orchid. My mom has a thing for naming her kids after nature. There's me, Autumn named as an ode to the season I was born in, and my younger sister Lily after her favorite flower. And then there's Jeremy, my older brother who got off easy with a name that doesn't scream nature-inspired. But hey, I've grown to love my name. After all, it's pretty fitting considering my love for crisp leaves and pumpkin spice lattes. My brother's Jeremy's town was an amazing place to be at, especially autumn season. So there I was, standing on the porch of my brother's house in the charming town of Maplewood. It was my 5th visit, and every time I stepped foot in this place, it felt like a warm embrace. The air was filled with the scent of freshly baked apple pies, and the leaves were putting on a show of reds and golds. It was autumn, my favorite season, and I was ready to take a leap of faith and make this town my new home. Within a year from then, that dream materialized. Alicia, my sister-in-law, knew about my Maplewood infatuation. She was the one who had recommended me for a kindergarten teaching position at her school. And let me tell you, if Alicia recommends you for something, you better bet you'll get it. So, with a mix of excitement and apprehension, I waved goodbye to my old school, packed up my classroom decorations, and said farewell to my beloved students who were convinced I was running off to join the circus. But change is good, right? That's what I kept telling myself as I tearfully said goodbye to my colleagues who couldn't believe I was leaving. "You're like a burst of sunshine in the morning meetings," my friend Sarah had said through sniffles. "Who will bring in homemade cookies on Mondays now?" "It's not goodbye, it's just a see you later," I reassured them, clutching my box of stationery and motivational posters. After my tearful departure, it was time to face the hardest goodbye of all, my mom and Lily. They were both having a meltdown about me leaving the nest. I mean, seriously, you'd think I was migrating to the other side of the world. "Autumn, are you sure about this?" my mom sniffled, holding onto my arm like she was afraid I'd evaporate into thin air. "Yes, Mom, I'm sure," I said, giving her a reassuring hug. "Maplewood is calling my name and I need to answer." As I boarded the plane, I wiped away my tears, mentally preparing myself for this new adventure. Jeremy and Alicia were waiting for me at the other end, beaming with excitement. I may have hugged them a little too enthusiastically, but who could blame me? I was about to start a new chapter in the town that felt like a warm, cozy blanket on a chilly autumn day. Jeremy and Alicia were the best hosts ever. I stayed with them while I hunted for my own apartment, and let me tell you, being the third wheel to a married couple can have its perks. Like, for example, not having to cook or do laundry. It was like living in a luxury resort, minus the daily towel animals. I finally found the perfect apartment not too far from Jeremy's place. It was my first time living on my own, and I was determined to make it work. The transition was a bit rough at first. I accidentally flooded the kitchen while trying to fix a leaky faucet. But once I got the hang of it, I was happier and more reassured than ever that moving here was the right decision. As I settled into my new routine, I discovered that teaching kindergarten was like herding a bunch of adorable, energetic kittens. Alicia was my go-to for advice, even though she taught 6th grade. We'd meet up after school and compare stories about the hilariously random things our students said and did. Let me tell you, kids have a way of keeping life interesting. Then, one fateful Saturday morning, everything changed. I was at the supermarket, minding my own business as I contemplated the merits of crunchy versus creamy peanut butter, when a deep male voice called out my full name from behind. Autumn Summers! I turned around in shock, only to find myself face to face with a blast from my past, a blast that went by the name of Miguel Ramos. My eyes widened, and before I could stop myself, I blurted out, "Miguel Ramos," I said with a hint of disgust in my voice. But Miguel, the Miguel from my school days, was not the same guy standing before me now. In fact, he was practically unrecognizable. Gone were the gangly limbs and awkward grin. Instead, here stood a hunk of a man with a soldering smile and a confidence that practically radiated from him. I blinked, trying to wrap my head around the fact that Miguel Ramos was now a bona fide heartthrob. I may have let my gaze linger for a moment longer than necessary, but then reality kicked in. This was Miguel Ramos we were talking about, the same guy who once pulled a prank that involved swapping my peanut butter sandwich with a ketchup-covered one. Autumn, right? The girl who's named after 2 seasons, he said, his tone playful, my lips twisted into a wry smile. Yes, that's me. Autumn. The girl who thought she'd escaped the clutches of Miguel Ramos. He laughed, a deep, rich sound that sent shivers down my spine. Well, I'm all grown up now. I promise. No more ketchup sandwiches. I raised an eyebrow, skeptical of his newfound maturity. We'll see about that. Miguel leaned casually against the shopping cart, his gaze never leaving mine. You know, I've actually been living in Maplewood since my family moved. I blinked, caught off guard. Wait, what? How come Jeremy never mentioned that you live here? Miguel shrugged, a mischievous twinkle in his eyes. Guess he forgot to mention it. And honestly, I didn't know you were here until I saw you in the store. I rolled my eyes, a mixture of annoyance and intrigue bubbling within me. Well, I'm not exactly throwing a welcome party. Miguel chuckled, a sound that was infuriatingly charming. Fair enough. But hey, maybe we can grab coffee sometime, catch up on old times. I narrowed my eyes at him, not quite sure what game he was playing. Coffee? Is that your new way of pranking people? Miguel held up his hands in mock surrender. I promise, no pranks this time. Just a chance to show you that I've changed. I hesitated for a moment, my mind racing with conflicting thoughts. The guy who once tormented me was now standing before me, all grown up and seemingly genuine. Was it possible that Miguel Ramos had actually matured? With a sigh, I relented, a small smile tugging at the corner of my lips. All right, fine. Coffee it is. But don't think you're off the hook that easily. Miguel grinned, his eyes dancing with amusement. Deal. As I turned to continue my shopping, I couldn't help but feel a sense of excitement mixed with a healthy dose of skepticism. Who would have thought that my new chapter in Maplewood would involve a blast from my past and a potential coffee date with a guy who once made my school days a whirlwind of chaos and laughter? Little did I know, this autumn was about to become even more unpredictable and hilarious than I could have ever imagined. Later that afternoon, Jeremy and Alicia joined me for dinner at my new apartment. We gathered around the table, feasting on a delicious spread that Alicia had whipped up. And by whipped up, I mean she probably spent hours in the kitchen perfecting every dish. She insisted on making dinner. As we laughed and chatted about my recent move and the kindergarten chaos that had become my daily life, I couldn't help but sneak playful glances at Jeremy. The guy had a way of making everything feel lighter and more fun. And well, I had a bone to pick with him. A Miguel Ramos-shaped bone. "Hey, Jer," I said, flashing him an innocent smile. "Mind if I ask you something?" Jeremy raised an eyebrow, a knowing grin playing on his lips. "Oh, I know that look. What's up, Autumn?" I leaned across the table, my tone playful. "So, remember that time you conveniently forgot to mention that Miguel Ramos lives in Maplewood?" Jeremy chuckled, his eyes twinkling with mischief. "Ah, you found out, huh?" I playfully wrestled with him, causing him to laugh even harder. "Why didn't you tell me, huh? You knew I'd probably run into him sooner or later." Jeremy managed to escape my grip, raising his hands in mock surrender. "I figured you'd get over his antics by now." Alicia's laughter filling the room. She quizzed, "What's the deal with Miguel Ramos?" I rolled my eyes, but a smile tugged at my lips. Jeremy leaned back in his chair, a mischievous glint in his eyes. "It's a long story." Alicia's eyes lit up, and she looked at me expectantly. "Oh, come on, Autumn. You have to share the story." I sighed dramatically, realizing I was outnumbered. Fine, but only because you two are so persistent." So there we were, with Jeremy gleefully recounting every hilarious and absurd encounter I had with Miguel Ramos. From the time he convinced me that my backpack had turned into a helium balloon to the infamous ketchup sandwich incident, Jeremy painted a picture of our childhood rivalry that had us all in stitches. Alicia wiped away tears of laughter as she clapped her hands. "Oh my goodness, Autumn, you were such a trooper." I rolled my eyes, trying not to laugh. Alicia winked at me, a mischievous glint in her eyes. "Well, I have some juicy gossip for you, Autumn. Miguel Ramos is currently on Maplewood's list for most handsome eligible bachelors." I nearly choked on my food, my eyes widening in disbelief. "What? No way." Jeremy joined in, a playful grin on his face. "Oh yeah. The guy's apparently quite the catch now. He is next in line to take over his dad's contracting firm. The Ramos family had really made a name for themselves after moving to Maplewood." I shook my head in amazement. "Well, he's certainly come a long way from his ketchup days." Alicia and Jeremy exchanged a knowing glance, a silent communication passing between them. And then I dropped the bomb, the news that had them both stopping mid-bite. "He asked me out for coffee," I said, trying to sound nonchalant but failing miserably. "What?" they exclaimed in unison, their jaws practically hitting the table. Jeremy's eyes widened, his fork suspended in the air. "Wait, hold on. Did you accept the offer?" I shrugged, feeling a mix of excitement and uncertainty. "Yeah, I guess. We're adults now, right?" Jeremy burst into laughter, nearly spitting out his food. I swear I never saw this one coming. Arch nemesis turned lovers. I hushed him, my cheeks flushing slightly. "It's just a coffee date, guys. Let's not get ahead of ourselves here." Alicia grinned from ear to ear, her eyes sparkling with mischief. "Oh, come on, Autumn. This is going to be epic. I can't wait to see how it unfolds." As we continued our dinner, laughter filling the room, I couldn't help but feel a sense of excitement. Who would have thought that my Maplewood adventure would involve not just a blast from the past, but a potential romantic twist as well? One thing was for sure. This autumn was shaping up to be one heck of a ride. Part 2. Pumpkins, Pastries, and Peculiar Feelings. The day of our coffee date with Miguel had finally arrived, and I was a mixture of excitement and nervousness. I stood before my mirror, debating my outfit choice for the umpteenth time. After all, first impressions were important. I finally settled on a fitted burnt orange turtleneck paired with high-waisted jeans. Topping it all off was a beautiful rust-colored coat that made me feel like the embodiment of autumn itself. A pair of comfortable boots completed the ensemble, and I was ready to face whatever this date had in store. When Miguel suggested the enchanted pumpkin patch meadows for our first date, I knew he had me pegged. I mean, who could resist a pumpkin patch during autumn? As we arrived, my breath was quite literally taken away. It was as if I had stepped into a fairy tale. Fields of pumpkins in every imaginable shape and size surrounded us, each one more vibrant and inviting than the last. The air was alive with the sense of the season, earthiness, fallen leaves, and the irresistible aroma of freshly baked treats. A gentle breeze rustled the leaves above, casting a golden confetti shower upon us. It was like stepping into a dream. We strolled hand in hand through the patch, laughter and excitement filling the air around us. Families engaged in various activities, from picking pumpkins to participating in traditional games. We made our way to a baked goods booth, where the heavenly scent of cinnamon and sugar enveloped us. We indulged in an assortment of cinnamon-baked treats and steaming cups of hot chocolate, finding a cozy spot to sit and catch up on old times. As we talked, I couldn't help but notice Miguel's physique, a living testament to dedication and discipline. His chiseled features and sculpted body seemed to defy gravity, and I found myself stealing glances whenever I thought he wouldn't notice. And those eyes, oh, those eyes. A rich, warm brown that held depths of stories and emotions that I could only begin to fathom. Miguel looked equally striking in his black sweatshirt and brown jacket coat. His presence exuded confidence and a touch of rugged charm that was impossible to ignore. I was truly mesmerized, and yet here we were, catching up and laughing like old friends. The day stretched on, each moment more enchanting than the last. We embarked on a pumpkin painting adventure, engaging in a friendly competition to see who could create the most artistic masterpiece. Spoiler alert. I won, but Miguel argued that I might have had an unfair advantage due to my kindergarten teacher skills. Our laughter carried on as we tried our hand at corn mazes and took goofy pictures by the scarecrow display. We relished in the camaraderie that had effortlessly settled between us. I was amazed at how easy it was to be around him, how our conversations flowed naturally, and how his smile seemed to brighten even the cloudiest of moments. In the following weeks, Miguel and I found ourselves spending more and more time together. We explored Maplewood's hidden gems, shared stories, and discovered common interests. I never planned on falling for anyone, especially not my childhood nemesis, but life had its own plans. Miguel was no longer the mischievous prankster of our youth. He was someone who made my heart skip a beat with a single glance. It was Halloween night, and as we walked through the streets of Maplewood, the air was thick with excitement. Houses were decked out in spooky decor, and laughter echoed from every corner as trick-or-treaters roamed the neighborhood. Miguel and I had carved pumpkins earlier in the day, each one bearing a unique design that showcased our individuality. As he walked me home, I couldn't help but feel a sense of contentment. The moon cast a soft glow on the streets, and the crunch of fallen leaves underfoot added to the magic of the moment. As we reached my doorstep, Miguel took a deep breath, his eyes locking onto mine. "Autumn," he began, his voice carrying a hint of nervousness. "There's something I've been wanting to say." My heart raced and I swallowed hard, anticipation building in the air. He stepped closer, his gaze unwavering. "I know this might seem sudden, but I've realized something over the past few weeks. Autumn, I love spending time with you. I love how you've embraced Maplewood and its magic. I love how you make me laugh and how you challenge me. I love you." My breath caught in my throat as his confession hung in the air. Love? It was a word I hadn't expected to hear, not so soon and certainly not from him. But in that moment, everything felt right. The pumpkin patch, the laughter, the shared moments, it all led to this. Tears welled up in my eyes as I took a step closer to him. "Miguel, I never thought I'd hear those words from you of all people." He chuckled softly, his hand reaching for mine. "Yeah, well, life has a funny way of surprising us, doesn't it?" I nodded, a smile tugging at my lips. "It certainly does." And as we stood there on Halloween night, under the watchful gaze of the moon and surrounded by the enchantment of Maplewood, I knew that this was just the beginning. Our journey from childhood rivals to lovers was a tale written in the stars, a story of unexpected connections and the beauty of second chances. Part 3. Turkeys, Tamales, and Twisted Fate. As the Thanksgiving day approached, I found myself getting ready for a big step in my relationship with Miguel, meeting his family. Yes, you heard that right. Miguel was finally going to introduce me to the Ramos clan. And let me tell you, the anticipation was real. Miguel had kept our relationship a secret from them because he knew they'd never believe he'd fall for the girl he tormented as a child. Oh, the irony. So there I was, standing in front of my closet, debating my outfit choice for this monumental occasion. I finally settled on a long-sleeved, plum-colored mini-wrap dress that accentuated my curves just right. A matching plum-colored jacket, Black stockings and a pair of sleek black high-heeled boots completed the ensemble. I styled my blonde hair as glamorous pin curls and complementing makeup. If I was going to meet Miguel's family, I was going to do it in style. Miguel offered to drive me, but I declined, opting to drive myself to their house. I figured it would be best to make a grand entrance, and I wasn't wrong. When I rang the doorbell, Miguel answered, his eyes lighting up at the sight of me. He dropped a sweet kiss on my forehead, and I couldn't help but feel a wave of warmth spread through me. "You look absolutely gorgeous, babe," he murmured, his smile infectious. He led me into the dining room, his voice ringing out as he announced my arrival to the whole room. The sudden hush that fell over the gathering was palpable. All eyes were on us as we walked in, and I swear you could have heard a pin drop. "Autumn Summers!" Miguel's mother exclaimed, her voice a mix of shock and delight. His siblings and father gasped, the realization dawning on them. Yes, it was me, the same Autumn who used to play with Miguel back in the day. Mrs. Marcella, Miguel's mother, rushed over and enveloped me in a tight hug, her emotions evident in her watery eyes. "You've grown so beautifully," she said, her voice laced with genuine emotion. "We've missed you. I knew your brother and his wife had moved to Maplewood, but I didn't know you were here too." When my dad passed away, the Ramos family had extended a helping hand, looking out for us while my mom worked tirelessly to support our little family. Now here we were, years later, facing each other under such unexpected circumstances. Miguel's younger brothers, Jorge and Emilio, joined in the group hug, still in a state of shock and excitement. "Papa, look, it's Mrs. Sommer's first daughter, Autumn. Isn't she beautiful?" Jorge exclaimed. His dad, Miguel Sr., joined the group, offering his own warm hug and words of welcome. "Eres hermosa," he said, which translates to, "You are beautiful." The warmth of their reception made me feel like I was coming home after a long journey. As the evening unfolded, I was introduced to the rest of the extended family members who had gathered for the occasion, over 40 people in total. The air was filled with laughter, animated conversations, and the mouth-watering aroma of traditional Mexican dishes. Tables were laden with tamales, enchiladas, pozole, and an array of other delectable treats. I was in food heaven, and let me tell you, I didn't hold back. Each dish was more flavorful than the last, and I couldn't resist going back for seconds and thirds. Amidst the feasting, there were heartwarming traditions, like the passing down of family recipes and stories. Everyone shared their favorite memories, and I was quickly made to feel like part of the Ramos clan. And of course, there was laughter. Oh, so much laughter. Miguel's uncle, Carlos, decided to share an embarrassing childhood story about Miguel, much to his chagrin. Apparently, Miguel had a habit of getting himself stuck in some unusual places. It was a tale filled with comedic twists and turns, and I couldn't help but burst into fits of laughter along with everyone else. As the night grew late, Miguel and I found ourselves stealing a quiet moment in a cozy corner of the backyard. The stars twinkled above, and a soft breeze rustled the leaves, creating a sense of intimacy and tranquility. "You know," Miguel began, his voice tender, "I can't believe I'm here with you tonight. If you had told me a few years ago that I'd be introducing you as my girlfriend to my entire family, I would have laughed." I chuckled softly, leaning in closer to him. "Life has a funny way of surprising us, doesn't it?" He nodded, his hand finding mine. "It certainly does, and I wouldn't have it any other way." In that moment, I realized just how far we had come. Two childhood foes turned unlikely lovers. Our journey had been filled with twists, turns, and a healthy dose of comedic irony. And as I looked into Miguel's eyes, I knew that our love story was only just beginning. With a soft smile, Miguel leaned in, his lips brushing against mine in a tender, reaffirming kiss. It was a kiss filled with promise, a promise of more laughter, more adventures, and the unwavering love that had blossomed between us. As we pulled away, I couldn't help but grin. "Who would have thought, huh?" I teased, giving his hand a playful squeeze. Miguel chuckled, his eyes shining with affection. "Certainly not me, but I'm so glad I found my way to you." And as we sat there, surrounded by the echoes of laughter and the love of Miguel's family, I knew that this was where I belonged, in a world of twists, turns, and the sweetest kind of surprises. Maplewood Romance, Miguel and Autumn's Wedding, written by Black Orchid. This summer's invitation to join Miguel's family on a trip to Mérida, Mexico, was like a dream come true. I had fallen head over heels for both Miguel and his vibrant Mexican heritage, so the thought of experiencing it firsthand was beyond exciting. As our plane touched down in Mérida, the warm Mexican air greeted me with a comforting embrace. Miguel's family welcomed me with open arms, and I was quickly enveloped in the lively chaos of their gatherings. Our days in Mérida were filled with exploration and adventure. We strolled through the city's colorful streets, where every corner seemed to hold a piece of history and a dash of magic. The local markets, brimming with handmade crafts and tantalizing street food, were a sensory delight. One evening, we witnessed a traditional Mayan dance performance, the rhythmic beats of the drums echoing in our hearts. Miguel held my hand as we watched the dancers move gracefully, their vibrant costumes swaying with every step. Then Miguel happened to pull off the biggest surprise on the trip. He proposed. The day of the proposal was magical, to say the least. We were on a boat ride through the stunning Celestune Biosphere Reserve, surrounded by the serene beauty of nature. He knew I loved flamingos, so he organized the tour. As the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky with shades of pink and orange, Miguel got down on one knee. Amidst the soft sounds of the gentle waves and the serenading melodies of a mariachi band that had mysteriously appeared, Miguel asked me to be his forever. Tears of joy blurred my vision as I said yes. We decided to waste no time and have a very short engagement. We planned an autumn wedding, which was quite fitting considering our relationship history. Fast forward to the morning of the wedding day, as I stood before the mirror in the bedroom of the Ramos family villa, I couldn't help but admire the reflection staring back at me. The cap-sleeved white satin ball gown hugged my frame just right, and the long cathedral veil added an air of elegance. My style felt like a reflection of my journey. Uncomplicated, yet deeply meaningful, I had always believed in simplicity. And today, on my wedding day, I felt like a vision of it. My mother, ever the proud and emotional woman, adjusted my veil with delicate care. By her side were my sister Lily and my sister-in-law Alicia. Their eyes glistened with tears, which they were valiantly trying to hold back. I never imagined that my journey, which had started with a life-changing decision to move to Maplewood, would lead me here, to becoming someone's wife, let alone Miguel's wife, given our history. I blinked back my own tears, not wanting to ruin my makeup. Just in the nick of time, the wedding planner entered the room, her presence a timely distraction. She informed us that we needed to make our way to stay on schedule, sparing us the emotional waterworks that were ready to flow. As I descended the staircase, my heart pounded with anticipation. Waiting at the bottom was my older brother, Jeremy. His jaw dropped as he laid eyes on me, and I could see the sheer awe in his face. He had the honor of giving me away today, standing in for our late father as the eldest sibling. The room was thick with emotion, and we exchanged a meaningful glance that spoke volumes. Before leaving the villa, my mother gathered everyone in a circle. She blessed us with a heartfelt prayer, invoking happiness, love, and prosperity for Miguel and I as we embarked on this new chapter of our lives. Her words were like a warm embrace, comforting and reassuring. We arrived at a picturesque white wooden church, nestled against a backdrop of autumn trees that added a touch of magic to the setting. The day couldn't have been more perfect, a true gift from the season that had brought us together. Inside the church, Miguel and I exchanged vows in a heartfelt ceremony witnessed by our families. The words we spoke were a testament to the love we had nurtured, the hurdles we had overcome, and the future we were promising to build together. When the moment came to seal our vows with a kiss, it felt like time stood still. As we locked lips, the church bells rang merrily, announcing our union to the world. The reception was a celebration like no other, held on the sprawling Ramos estate. It was a harmonious blend of family traditions and cultural influences, a grand ode to the season in which we had fallen in love. The decor was a vibrant mix of autumnal colors, with a generous dose of Mexican flair. Mariachi bands serenaded us, and the night was filled with laughter, dancing, and joyous celebration. Throughout the evening, we embraced various Mexican wedding traditions. The lazo ritual saw a cord of flowers and rosary beads draped over our shoulders, symbolizing our unity. The exchange of coins, known as las aras, demonstrated our commitment to sharing our wealth and resources. We reveled in the jarabe tapatio, a lively folk dance that had everyone on their feet, twirling and clapping to the beat. Amidst the celebration and festivities, Miguel and I shared a private moment, slipping away from the crowd to steal a few quiet minutes together. It was a blend of tenderness and naughtiness, reminding us that amidst the grandeur of the day, our love remained playful and passionate. As I looked around at the smiling faces of our family and friends, I couldn't help but think how life had taken us on an unexpected journey. From childhood nemeses to lovers, Miguel and I had defied the odds. Our love story had its unique twists and turns, filled with humor, camaraderie, and, most importantly, an enduring love that had brought us to this beautiful moment. In the end, it wasn't just the beauty of the season or the richness of our cultures that made our wedding day special. It was the love that we shared, a love that had grown from the most unexpected beginnings. It was a love that would carry us forward into our new life together, with all its adventures and surprises yet to come.
Autumn's Unexpected Harmony, Love, Laughter, and Flowery Mishaps by Black Orchid. The aroma of freshly baked cinnamon rolls enveloped James Hilson as he walked into the Sugar and Spice Bakery. Kaylee Simmons, the enchanting bakery owner, was busy behind the counter, frosting cupcakes with meticulous care. The bell above the door tinkled, and Kaylee looked up with a warm smile. "Well, well, Mr. Lawyer, are you here to plead guilty to a sugar addiction?" she quipped, wiping her hands on her apron. James chuckled, a playful glint in his eyes. "Only if you're my defense attorney, Miss Baker." Their banter flowed effortlessly, like leaves caught in a gentle breeze. As autumn's golden hues painted the world outside, the bakery seemed like a cozy haven, its walls adorned with baskets of freshly harvested apples and strings of fairy lights. Over time, James found himself visiting the bakery more frequently, not just for the delectable treats, but for the delightful company he had discovered in Kaylee. Their conversations ranged from witty exchanges to heartfelt discussions about their dreams and aspirations. He admired her determination and passion for her bakery, and a genuine friendship blossomed between them. One fateful day, as the leaves danced to the rhythm of a crisp breeze, Kaylee seemed unusually quiet. James noticed the worry lines creasing her forehead. "What's on your mind, Kaylee?" he asked, concern lacing his words. She sighed, looking down at the counter. "I'm facing some challenges with the bakery. Suppliers have been unreliable and the oven's been acting up. It's been a roller coaster of a week." James's eyebrows furrowed, his mind racing. He knew he could help, but he also knew Kaylee's fierce independence. "Is there anything I can do to assist?" She chuckled softly, her eyes meeting his. "Oh, Mr. Lawyer, you want to save my bakery now?" He grinned, feigning innocence. "I'm just offering my legal expertise. No ulterior motives, I promise." Kaylee's smile was bittersweet. "Thank you, James, but I've got this." Unbeknownst to Kaylee, James decided to take matters into his own hands. Using his family business connections, he discreetly negotiated with suppliers and even arranged for the bakery's oven to be repaired. James came from a well-established family in Mason City, which he was yet to share with Kaylee. He believed he was doing what was best for Kaylee, even if she didn't ask for it. However, when Kaylee discovered the extent of James's actions, her eyes blazed with anger as if autumn's fiery leaves had taken residence within them. "What on earth do you think you're doing?" she exclaimed, her voice a mixture of surprise and frustration. "Did you think I couldn't handle my own bakery?" James struggled to find the right words, taken aback by her reaction. "I just wanted to help, Kaylee. I didn't mean to undermine you. Her eyes narrowed, hurt flashing in their depths. So you see me as a damsel in distress who needs saving? The tension in the air was palpable, like a storm brewing on the horizon. Their once harmonious relationship seemed to hang in the balance, the strains of disagreement echoing through the bakery. Days turned into an uncomfortable silence between them. Kaylee continued to run her bakery with renewed determination, and James grappled with the consequences of his well-intentioned actions. The autumn leaves outside mirrored the fragile state of their connection. One evening, as the bakery bustled with customers savoring seasonal delights, Kaylee found herself alone in the back room. She stared at the oven, frustration gnawing at her. It was then that James walked in, his expression a mixture of remorse and vulnerability. "Kaylee, I'm so sorry," he said, his voice gentle like the rustling leaves. "I overstepped, and I should have respected your independence." She turned to him, her eyes softening. "It's not that I don't appreciate your help, James. It's just, I'm not used to leaning on others. I've always been the one giving, not receiving." He approached her, his fingers gently tilting her chin to meet his gaze. "Kaylee, I love your strength and independence, but it's okay to let someone in. It's okay to share the burdens, especially when you don't have to carry them alone." A tear slipped down her cheek, a crystal-clear drop reflecting the warmth of the bakery's light. "I've been so afraid of appearing weak or vulnerable." He wiped away her tear with a tender touch. "You're not weak, Kaylee. You're incredibly strong, and sometimes allowing yourself to receive support is the bravest thing you can do." As the words hung in the air like a gentle melody, Kaylee's heart softened, like dough rising in the warmth of an oven. She leaned into James's embrace, the weight of her pride and fears lifting, replaced by a sense of acceptance and love. Over time, their bond grew stronger, like the roots of a tree anchoring itself in the earth. James continued to visit the bakery, but now his visits were not just about witty banter and sweet treats. They were about shared dreams, vulnerability, and an unwavering connection that defied expectations. On a particularly whimsical autumn afternoon, James walked into the bakery with a twinkle in his eye. "I come bearing gifts," he announced, presenting a basket filled with apples. Kaylee arched an eyebrow. "Are you trying to bribe me with fruit now?" He chuckled. "No, I thought we could make caramel apples together. A joint venture, if you will." Their laughter echoed through the bakery, a joyful melody that harmonized perfectly with the warmth of their love, a love that had bloomed unexpectedly in the midst of autumn's embrace. Autumn's unexpected harmony, love, laughter, and flowery mishaps. Part 2. The leaves had once again begun their graceful descent, painting the town of Edmonton in shades of amber and gold. Kaylee and James, having embraced a year of partnership in both business and love, stood before their new venture, the quaint and charming Rituals Tea Shop. It was an enchanting blend of traditional elegance and cozy warmth, a haven that exuded the essence of old-world tea shops. "Can you believe it, James?" Kaylee's eyes shone with a mixture of excitement and wonder. "Our second location, and just in time for the fall season." James chuckled, his arm around her shoulders. "Well, when you mix your baking magic with my legal prowess, there's no stopping us." The tea shop's windows were adorned with seasonal autumn decor, inviting passers-by to step into a world of comfort and delight. Inside, the air was scented with the aroma of freshly brewed teas and the irresistible allure of Kaylee's pastries. The space was adorned with vintage teapots, dainty china cups, and a cozy reading nook complete with plush armchairs and shelves filled with classic novels. As the days grew shorter and the air turned crisper, Kaylee and James found themselves juggling the demands of their growing business and their blossoming relationship. Balancing the intricacies of entrepreneurship with the tenderness of their love required patience and understanding. "I can't believe we're actually doing this," Kaylee murmured one evening, gazing around their bustling tea shop. "A year ago, this was just a dream." James smiled, his hand finding hers amidst the busyness. "And now it's a reality, all thanks to your vision and determination." The tea shop's success was further propelled by Kaylee's insightful blog posts, chronicling their journey from inspiration to opening day. Their charming tale resonated with readers, and when a well-known foodie influencer, Jade Lee, graced their tea shop and shared glowing reviews, Ritual's tea shop became an overnight sensation. However, success wasn't without its challenges. The appearance of a larger, more contemporary competitor, Sip and Savor, aimed at overshadowing their traditional charm, led to tense negotiations and accusations. But Kaylee and James stood strong, united in their vision and the unwavering support of their community. The media whirlwind and long hours, their relationship faced moments of strain, but their love remained the steadfast anchor that held them together. Late nights were often spent poring over financial statements and marketing plans, yet they always found time to share a quiet moment over a pot of tea, their hands intertwined, rekindling the flame that had brought them together. Amidst the ebb and flow of autumn's hues, the town's excitement reached its peak as the second Ritual's tea shop opened its doors. Lines stretched around the block, and the air buzzed with anticipation. Kaylee and James stood side by side, their hands held tight as they looked at the crowd that had gathered to celebrate their success. As the clock struck noon on the 20th day of October, the doors opened, and the sound of joyous applause filled the air. The couple greeted their guests with smiles that radiated their genuine happiness. Kaylee's eyes met James, and they shared a silent exchange that spoke volumes, a shared journey, a love that had conquered obstacles, and a future that held limitless possibilities. As the snowflakes began to fall, family and friends gathered for a heartwarming Thanksgiving dinner at James's family home. Amid the laughter and warmth, James cleared his throat, his eyes locked on Kaylee. "There's one more thing I'm thankful for this year," he began, his voice steady but filled with emotion. "I'm thankful for the love that's brought us together, the challenges that have made us stronger, and the dreams we've shared." He took a deep breath, his gaze never leaving Kaylee's. "So, in front of our loved ones, amidst the blessings of this season, and with all the love in my heart, Kaylee Simmons, will you marry me?" A collective gasp filled the room as James knelt before her, a glint of hope in his eyes. Tears streamed down Kaylee's cheeks as she nodded, her heart racing with overwhelming joy. "Yes, James, yes," she exclaimed, her voice filled with pure, unfiltered happiness. The room erupted into cheers and applause as James slid a beautiful engagement ring onto Kaylee's finger, sealing their love in a moment that would forever be etched in their hearts. And so, the embrace of autumn's beauty and the promise of a shared future, Kaylee and James embarked on a new chapter of their love story, one filled with the harmonious melodies of love, laughter, and the sweet embrace of their cherished rituals. Autumn's unexpected harmony, love, laughter, and flowery mishaps. Part 3, by Black Orchid. In the heart of Edmonton, within the cozy confines of Everlasting Love Bridal Boutique, a moment of heartfelt anticipation was about to unfold. The air was thick with emotions as Kaylee, her two younger twin sisters, Kiara and Chloe, and their grandmother, Carla, gathered around a large mirror. The bridal dress fitting marked a poignant milestone, a realization that Kaylee was about to embark on a new chapter of her life as a bride. The wedding planner, a beacon of calm amidst the excitement, stood nearby, overseeing the final dress fitting with a watchful eye. As the family gathered around, the room seemed to hold its breath, awaiting the unveiling of the gown that Kaylee had kept a secret until now. Kaylee's heart raced as she stood before the mirror, her fingers trembling as she reached for the gown that held her dreams. The dress, a dreamy white A-line ball gown, featured a scoop neckline adorned with delicate jewel-capped sleeves that accentuated her collarbone with a romantic elegance. The dress seemed to have been designed for her, a reflection of her personality, grace, and the love story she shared with James. With the help of the bridal boutique staff, Kaylee slipped into the gown, her breath catching as she looked at herself in the mirror. The dress flowed around her like a cascade of dreams, and the tulle veil, cathedral length and ethereal, was the perfect finishing touch. Nestled in her hair was a jewel hair brooch, a cherished heirloom from her late mother, passed down to her by her grandmother. A tangible connection to her roots, a silent reminder that love had no boundaries. The room fell silent as Kaylee made her way out of the dressing room to her family in the display area. Her sisters had tears shimmering in their eyes, their hearts undoubtedly overflowing with pride and love for their eldest sister. But it was her grandmother Carla whose gaze held the most profound emotion. As tears welled in her eyes, Grandma Carla began to speak, her voice soft yet resonant with memories. "I remember when your mother got married," she said, her words carrying a sense of nostalgia. "She was only 18, and I thought she was so young. But when I saw her walking down the aisle, I saw how much she and your father loved each other. It was a day of pure happiness, one she always held close to her heart." A hint of sadness flickered in Carla's eyes as she continued. "She always said it was one of the happiest days of her life, second only to the days she gave birth to you and your sisters." The atmosphere was filled with a mixture of emotions, from tears to tender smiles. Grandma Carla's memories had stirred something deep within each of them, a reminder of the legacy of love that had been passed down through generations. With a loving gaze at Kaylee, Grandma Carla smiled through her tears. "And now, my dear, it's your turn. I have no doubt that your mother would be so proud of the woman you've become. You're about to create your own beautiful memories." Kaylee's heart swelled as she embraced her grandmother, the weight of the gown and the weight of her emotions intertwined. The moment was a delicate balance of joy and remembrance, love and loss, as generations connected through time and shared experiences. Amidst the shared sentiments, the wedding planner stepped forward, offering a gentle smile to Kaylee. "Everything is falling into place beautifully," she assured Kaylee, handing her a final checklist and schedule. "The autumn wedding is going to be breathtaking, and with your dedication and James's support, the second location of rituals will be a success." Kaylee's heart swelled with determination, the same determination that had brought her to this moment. With the love of her family and the strength of her partnership with James, she knew that juggling the tea shop's expansion and the wedding planning would be a challenge they could overcome. After her appointment at the bridal shop, Kaylee walked into the bustling construction site of their new Rituals tea shop, her steps filled with purpose and excitement. The air was tinged with the scent of fresh paint and the hum of busy workers, putting the final touches on the space. James stood at a corner, his brows furrowed in concentration as he reviewed some paperwork. His suit seemed a bit rumpled, and the stress lines on his face were evidence of the demanding days they both had been facing. As Kaylee approached, the lines on James's face softened into a warm smile that was reserved only for her. His eyes sparkled with love and relief as he swept her into his arms, his lips claiming several kisses that felt like a sanctuary amidst the chaos. "Hey, beautiful," he murmured against her lips, his embrace reassuring and comforting. "Hey yourself," she replied, a soft chuckle escaping her. "How's everything coming along?" James leaned back, his gaze sweeping over the construction site. "Busy, but we're getting there. Just a few last-minute details to iron out before the big opening this weekend." She nodded, understanding the weight of his responsibilities. "Well, I have good news to share." His eyes brightened with curiosity. "Oh, do tell." Kaylee grinned. "The final dress fitting went fantastic. The gown is everything I ever dreamed of, and Grandma was there to share in the moment." James's smile widened, his pride evident. "I'm so glad to hear that, sweetheart." He then shifted the conversation to their upcoming interview with the Edmonton Daily, their local newspaper. As the couple behind the fast-growing Rituals venture, their success story had attracted attention, and the paper was featuring them in its midweek Business Insider section. "Remember, it's in 2 hours," James said, his tone playful yet firm. "You do remember, right?" Kaylee tried to suppress a smile, feigning innocence. "Of course I remember. It's on my mind." James chuckled, seeing through her attempt. "You know, it's okay to admit if you need a little reminder here and there." A mock glare graced Kaylee's expression. "Are you implying I'm forgetful?" "Absolutely not," he replied with a grin. "Just proactive in helping you stay on top of things." With a resigned sigh, she nodded. "Fine, you caught me. I might have lost track of time." "See? Honesty is the best policy," he teased. James then steered the conversation to a more practical matter. "And speaking of being proactive, you really need to consider hiring an assistant soon. You can't do it all on your own, Kaylee." She rolled her eyes playfully, but knew he was right. I know. I promise I'll start looking into it." He nodded approvingly. "Good. I've already got our usual hiring agency on alert. They'll be sending over some candidate profiles soon." Kaylee sighed, a mix of exasperation and gratitude. All right, I'll check them out. As the minutes ticked away, the couple's conversation shifted, and they delved into the details of the upcoming interview. They anticipated questions about how they balanced their business and relationship, the challenges they had faced, and the lessons they had learned. They shared stories, laughed at the mishaps, and marveled at how far they had come since their chance encounter at Sugar and Spice. Late that afternoon, they meet with Miss Jewel Richards, a writer from Edmonton Daily's Business Insider. They had what they thought was a fruitful interview. The day of the tea shop's grand opening arrived amidst an atmosphere of anticipation and excitement. A crowd had gathered, a mix of loyal patrons, curious locals, and media personnel armed with cameras and microphones. The aroma of freshly brewed tea wafted through the air, and the carefully designed space shone like a gem amidst the town's bustling business zone. The ribbon-cutting ceremony was a moment of triumph, Kaylee and James holding the scissors together as they officially opened the doors to their second rituals location. Cheers erupted from the crowd, cameras flashed, and the event was live-streamed on social media platforms. As the doors swung open, the tea shop buzzed with activity. People sampled tea, indulged in pastries, and mingled amidst the warm ambiance. Reporters approached Kaylee and James asking questions about their journey, their inspiration, and the magic behind rituals. Amidst the sea of faces, their eyes met, a silent exchange that spoke volumes of their shared pride and gratitude. The day was a resounding success, a culmination of their hard work, love, and dedication. As the sun set on the horizon, casting a warm glow over the town, Kaylee and James stood side by side, watching the tea shop flourish with life and laughter. The journey had been filled with challenges, but in this moment they knew it had all been worth it. Part 2. Unfavorable publicity. 2 weeks before their wedding, an inexplicable feeling of unease tugged at Kaylee's gut. Her early morning routine remained unchanged, despite the nagging sensation. Prayer, devotion, exercise, breakfast, and her daily rituals at both Sugar and Spice Bakery and the Rituals tea shop branches all flowed as usual. Yet, an unshakable sense of something being amiss lingered. As the phone call from James came through, her cheerful greeting was met with a tone that didn't match her vibrant spirit. "Good morning, babe," she said, trying to infuse her voice with warmth and positivity. "Good morning," James responded, his voice laden with a weight that unsettled her. "Are you okay?" she asked, concern evident in her voice. He sighed and launched into an explanation that took her aback. He told her about an article in Edmonton Daily Business Insider, an uncomfortable piece that cast them in an unfavorable light. The writer, Miss Jewel Richards, had portrayed them as a fame-hungry couple, suggesting that their relationship was being exploited to further their business success. She questioned the authenticity of their responses during the interview and hinted at the legitimacy of their relationship. Kaylee's heart plummeted as James recounted the accusations made in the article. He went on to explain that the writer was likely influenced by Aaliyah Quinton, the daughter of a powerful family in Edmonton, who harbored unresolved feelings for James and had an agenda against them. She was the editor at the Business Insider. James urged Kaylee not to take the article too seriously, emphasizing that it was just a result of bitter intentions. Yet, Kaylee's frustration simmered beneath the surface. She felt humiliated by the negative light the article painted her in, and how it questioned the legitimacy of their relationship. She hated that their love was being scrutinized and reduced to a publicity stunt for business growth. As the conversation progressed, their frustration turned into a heated argument. James seemed to dismiss the impact of the article on Kaylee, suggesting that she needed to develop a thicker skin to succeed in the business world. The uncomfortable silence that followed their exchange pushed Kaylee to mumble an excuse and hang up abruptly, her anger spilling over into tears. A mixture of anger, humiliation, and betrayal flooded her emotions. How had they spiraled into such a heated exchange? She questioned whether they were rushing into marriage and business too quickly, and if they should have given their relationship more time to grow before taking such significant steps. The rest of the day was a blur of paperwork and avoiding the public eye. The support of her workers offered comfort, but the uncertainty continued to gnaw at her. Her phone buzzed repeatedly with calls from both James and her wedding planner, but she refused to answer, her anger and hurt driving her to distance herself. Her employees tried their best to uplift her spirits, voicing their disbelief in the hurtful accusations. Meanwhile, Ritual's tea shop's publicity stunt trended on social media, sparking a mix of opinions. James's calls went unanswered, and even the wedding planner's attempts to reach her were futile. After the lunch rush, Kaylee confided in her sisters, who were also her store managers, that she needed a break and asked them to cover for her. She found solace by retreating to a quiet jetty by a serene lake, a place she hadn't visited in years. The solitude allowed her to reflect on the journey that had brought her to this point, and she released her pent-up emotions. Time slipped away, and before she knew it, the sun was setting. Panic set in as she checked her phone, seeing numerous missed calls from her worried grandmother. She immediately called her. At first, Grandma Carla was grateful she was okay. She then launched into an epic scolding of Kaylee. She then ordered Kaylee to come visit her before she headed home. Kaylee was greeted with a warm bowl of chicken soup and fresh dinner rolls just out the oven. She sat there, pour her heart out while indulging in her grandmother's food therapy. Grandma Carla's words of wisdom offered both stern advice and tender understanding. She reminded Kaylee that the higher she climbed, the more obstacles she would face. She encouraged her to not let the opinions of others dictate her self-worth, and to use these challenges as stepping stones to grow stronger. Relationships, just like businesses, will always face testing moments, Grandma Carla gently stated. How you react will determine your path. You need to find a way to communicate better. The conversation also nudged Kaylee to reflect on her own behavior, acknowledging that she should not throw James's family wealth in his face during their arguments. The next morning, the sun peeked over the horizon, casting a warm and gentle glow on the world around them. A weary-looking James sat on Kaylee's porch, his eyes reflecting the weight of the previous day's turmoil. His mind was a whirlwind of thoughts, regrets, and hopes for reconciliation. He stared at the patterns the sunbeams painted on the ground, lost in the midst of his contemplation. Then the porch creaked under the light steps of Kaylee. As if sensing her presence, James turned his gaze toward her, his heart skipping a beat at the sight of her. Her expression was a mixture of vulnerability and determination, a mirror to his own emotions. "Hey," she said softly, her voice carrying a hint of apprehension moving towards him. They sat side by side on the swing, a comfortable silence settling between them like a familiar embrace. The morning was still young, and the world seemed to hold its breath, allowing them the space they needed to mend what had been strained. Kaylee's fingers traced idle patterns on the wooden armrest, her gaze fixed on her hands as she struggled to find the right words. "James, about yesterday. I'm sorry. I let my pride and anger get the best of me. I shouldn't have reacted the way I did." James turned to her, his eyes gentle and understanding. "Hey, don't apologize. I should have been more considerate of how my words might have hurt you. I didn't mean to belittle your feelings." Kaylee let out a sigh, her eyes finally meeting his. "It's just, I've worked so hard to build my reputation and my business. That article hit a nerve and I let it consume me." "I get it," James said, his voice soft. "I do. And I should have been more empathetic instead of telling you to grow thicker skin." That was insensitive. A small smile tugged at the corners of Kaylee's lips. "We're both learning as we go, aren't we?" James nodded, his gaze unwavering. "Yeah, we are, but you know what? That's okay. We're learning together." There was a poignant pause, their eyes locked in a silent exchange that spoke volumes. And then, as if guided by an unspoken understanding, they leaned in toward each other, their lips meeting in a gentle kiss that carried the weight of their apologies, their forgiveness, and their commitment to each other. As they pulled away, Kaylee's fingers found their way to intertwine with James, their hands fitting together like pieces of a puzzle. "I love you, James." His grip on her hand tightened, his eyes filled with unwavering affection. "And I love you, Kaylee. We're in this together, no matter what." She rested her head on his shoulder, a sense of peace settling over her. "You're right. As long as we're together, we can face anything." The next day, Ritual's Tea Shop released a statement to the public. In light of the recent article published in the Edmonton Daily Business Insider, Ritual's Tea Shop would like to address the claims made and provide clarity to our valued customers and supporters. The article in question has portrayed Ritual's Tea Shop in a manner that doesn't accurately reflect our values, vision, or the essence of our journey. We want to assure our community that the allegations presented are both misleading and far from the truth. Rituals Tea Shop was born out of a shared passion for creating welcoming spaces where people can indulge in delightful teas, delectable pastries, and exceptional service. Our journey has been one of dedication and hard work, built on the foundation of values that have been instilled in our founder, Kaylee Simmons, from a very young age. Before her journey with James Hilson began, Kaylee Simmons embarked on her entrepreneurial journey with Sugar and Spice Bakery. From a modest start, she nurtured her bakery into a beloved establishment that has garnered the loyalty and trust of countless patrons. The success of Sugar and Spice Bakery is a testament to her tireless efforts, creativity, and commitment to excellence. Rituals. Tea Shop is a natural progression of Kaylee's dedication to providing outstanding dining experiences. It is not, as portrayed, a calculated move to capitalize on her personal life. Our tea shop is the culmination of years of hard work, and the result of a shared vision between Kaylee and James to offer a space where people can create meaningful memories. We want to emphasize that our relationship, while deeply meaningful to us, is only a part of our story. Our primary focus remains on our commitment to providing exceptional products and experiences. We are not using our relationship as a publicity stunt. Rather, it is the foundation that allows us to approach our business endeavors with authenticity and unity. We thank you for your continued support and invite you to experience the true essence of Rituals Tea Shop, a place where every cup of tea tells a story and every visit is a cherished memory in the making. Part 3. It's Wedding Day. As the golden-hued autumn sun painted the town of Edmonton with its warm embrace, a sense of magic hung in the air, promising a day that would be etched into the hearts of all who bore witness. It was the day Kaylee Simmons and James Hilson had been eagerly awaiting, the culmination of their journey through trials and tribulations, leading them to this breathtaking moment. The grand cathedral stood with an air of regality, its doors wide open as if welcoming not just the guests, but also the love that had weathered storms and emerged stronger. Bells pealed in jubilant celebration, their joyous sound weaving a tapestry of anticipation and excitement. The setting was nothing short of enchanting, as nature itself seemed to partake in the celebration, adorning the surroundings with hues of amber, russet, and gold. Inside the cathedral, an atmosphere of serene beauty enveloped the space. The pews were filled with friends, family, and well-wishers, their hearts brimming with joy as they awaited the momentous union. At the altar, James stood resplendent in his tailored suit, his eyes fixed on the aisle, a mixture of nervousness and awe written across his handsome face. And then, in a breath-catching moment, the heavy wooden doors creaked open, revealing the radiant Kaylee, a vision of sheer grace and elegance. Her heart swelled with emotion as her father, Mr. Simmons, held her arm, guiding her toward the love of her life. She was a vision to behold. The air seemed to still as all eyes turned toward her, capturing the essence of her beauty, her strength, and the journey that had brought her to this point. Her steps were measured, each one a testament to the anticipation that hung in the air, a step closer to the man who had captured her heart. As she drew nearer, James's eyes locked onto hers, the rest of the world fading into insignificance. His heart pounded with a mixture of emotions, awe, gratitude, and an overwhelming sense of love that he couldn't put into words. Time seemed to slow as he watched her approach, her smile like a radiant beacon, her eyes sparkling with a mixture of excitement and tenderness. Kaylee's father, Mr. Simmons, stood tall and proud beside her, his heart a blend of bittersweet emotions. He had watched his daughter grow, witnessed her strength and determination, and now he was entrusting her to the man who had proven his love and devotion time and again. A tear glistened in his eye as he placed her hand in James', conveying his silent blessing. The exchange of vows was a symphony of heartfelt promises, each word echoing the depth of their love and commitment. Time seemed to stand still as they spoke of their dreams, their trials, and the unbreakable bond that had blossomed against all odds. Their voices, a harmonious blend of hope and longing, resonated throughout the cathedral, touching the hearts of all who were present. And then, the moment they had been waiting for arrived, the kiss that sealed their promise, their journey, and their future. The cathedral was alive with applause, the air filled with the joyous cheers of their loved ones, a resounding testament to the love that had conquered obstacles and emerged even stronger. As they walked down the aisle hand in hand, husband and wife, The cathedral's high ceiling seemed to echo with the collective sighs of admiration and affection. The autumn breeze brushed against their faces as they stepped out into the radiant sunlight, ready to embark on a new chapter of their lives. The reception that followed was a celebration of love, unity, and the unyielding spirit of two souls who had overcome every trial thrown their way. Laughter, tears, and heartfelt toasts filled the air as family and friends gathered to honor the newlyweds. The dance floor was alive with twirling couples, each step a testament to the rhythm of love that pulsed through the room. Underneath the starlit sky, as the evening air grew cooler, James and Kaylee found themselves in each other's arms once more. Amidst the twinkling lights and the soft strains of music, they shared a dance that felt like a whispered promise, a vow that they would continue to face every challenge and celebrate every triumph together. As the night grew late and the stars shimmered overhead, James leaned in close to Kaylee, his voice a tender murmur. "You know," he whispered, "this is just the beginning. Our journey is far from over, and I couldn't be more excited to see where it leads us." Kaylee's eyes sparkled as she looked up at him, her heart full to the brim. "And I couldn't imagine taking this journey with anyone else but you." And so, against the backdrop of a cool autumn night, under the watchful gaze of the stars and the blessings of their loved ones, James and Kaylee embarked on a new adventure, their love story continuing to unfold with every beat of their hearts. Subscribe to hear more romantic bedtime stories that will sweep you off your feet.